Hey everybody, Jason here with another LaunchBox Developer Sessions video. And man, this past week has been absolutely crazy. It's been incredible because we've had so much traffic. We've had way more traffic than we've ever had before. All kinds of people are switching to and using LaunchBox, and that is so exciting. So been really happy and pleased to see all the new traffic and to see our growth in the past couple weeks, but even in this past week has been amazing, even more amazing than the past couple weeks. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for that. We did release 6.0 over the weekend, and we received so much traffic from that release that we did run into some minor slowdown issues, actually. We maxed out the physical port on our server. We had a 100 megabit Ethernet port on our server, and it got maxed out because of the incredible amount of traffic coming into the server. I am happy to say that the hardware itself, other than the port, has held up perfectly fine. We don't have any issues with any other pieces of hardware in the machine. It's a very beefy machine, and so it's keeping up with the traffic just fine. But we did have the issue where the 100 megabit Ethernet port got maxed out on us for a particular period of time. So we were running into a few slowdown issues on Saturday and Sunday, and then also into Monday and Tuesday a little as well. And I went and got with my server provider and had them plan to switch it over last night to a gigabit connection. And so now, last night that did get switched over, and we are on a gigabit connection to prevent those issues from happening again. So we are prepped for the future. We got all kinds of room now there with bandwidth, so we're not going to run into any more slowdown issues. So thank goodness we didn't run into any issues that took anything down. But it's great to have these growing pains because it means that we are growing. Absolutely, we're growing very quickly. So that's super exciting. We also released 6.1 and 6.2 in the past week. Actually, that happened quickly after the 6.0 release over the weekend, really. And the reason for that is, well, they were both bug fix releases to fix issues that were discovered shortly after the 6.0 release. And you know, we do a lot of heavy beta testing. We really do, and the community does as well and helps us out with that. But it's always impossible to see what things are going to be like after it hits the masses, you know. So that's why we end up putting out bug fix releases after major releases sometimes, because then, you know, the bugs that we didn't know were there pop up because we've got a lot more people using the product. So that's what is up with the 6.1 and 6.2 that came out. You can check the changelog in LaunchBox itself. I think it's under the help menu for more details on what we actually fixed there. But it does seem we're solid now with 6.2, which is great, and people are happy there. So, but we weren't done yet with that. We just yesterday I released the first beta for 6.3, and the 6.3 beta adds on all the new image types from the LaunchBox Games database into LaunchBox itself. So basically, LaunchBox previously only had like 6 different image types. It had you know, screenshots, fan art, clear logo, banner, the front box art, and the back box art, and that's it. And if you look on the LaunchBox Games database, we have a lot more separated out image types for the images. And that doesn't seem that exciting, but it is more exciting than you realize, because what we can do now, and this isn't done yet, but this is what we have planned for very soon, before the 6.3 official release. What you can do now is you can prioritize all the different types of images. So say you want images shown in your collection no matter what, even if they're fan art, even if somebody has generated their own front box art because there's no front box art that exists, you can choose to have that. Otherwise, you can choose to skip that. You can choose on the fly to switch between 3D box art and regular flat box art. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do that we are going to add here to LaunchBox before 6.3 comes out, so that you have much more control over the images in your collection, both in Big Box and in LaunchBox, pretty much across the board. So that's extremely exciting. But even more exciting than that is the custom views for Big Box being the focus, because today and tomorrow, that is what I'm going to focus on development-wise. So I can't wait to get into that development and see what I can come up with before the end of the week. Now, I really have no idea if I'm going to be successful in doing this before the end of the week or not, but I'm going to give it a shot, guys. I'm going to try and get the custom views for Big Box and possibly custom themes into a beta before the end of the week. That's my goal. Whether I'll meet that goal or not, I don't know. But I'm going to do my best to make that happen, and also fix some of the bugs that have come up since the 6.3 beta. So that's the plan for the rest of this week, and that brings us on to next week. Next week, I am, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, I am taking a quick vacation with my family to go to family camp. Honestly, I don't like doing this because I get all upset having to leave the community and all this stuff and not being able to develop for a week. But my family needs me on this vacation more than anything. So for that reason, I am going to take the week off. I won't be doing a LaunchBox Developer Sessions video next week, and I won't be doing any live development streams as well. So unfortunately, we'll have to skip those for this week. I will be on every single day to keep up with things, to check to make sure everything's running smoothly. I'll respond to anybody who needs responses, etc. So I won't be distant, but at the same time, I am going to have to take a break from those 3 videos. And then also development is not going to make any major leaps next week while I'm on vacation. So I appreciate everybody's understanding there. I've got to be with my family for this coming week. One more thing, the Rocket Launcher plugin. I jumped the gun on that. Bleasby has been working very hard on that, and he gave me a link to a very early version of it, and I put it on the LaunchBox beta forums or forum topic, and we actually had to take that down because it wasn't really ready for release in any way, because basically he was waiting on me to implement some additional new features into a beta before it would be effective. And actually just did do that in the 6.3 beta 1 release. I added a clona field to games so for MAME imports that gets copied over. And then also there's a new platform variable in the when launching emulators with ROMs. You can put a platform variable in there that will spit out the platform name during the launching process. So I did those for Bleasby to help him with the Rocket Launcher integration, the Rocket Launcher plugin. So that is out to him. I told him not to kill himself working on that plugin, because I know he's been working really hard on that, and I'm sure he'll have something for us soon. But we don't want to push him too hard on that one. So moving on, one last thing before we do our little fun big box stuff. We get a lot of questions asked from the community in the YouTube videos and everything else. And one of the questions that came up this past week was, can you build a drive full of ROMs and all that stuff and send it to me so that I have your configuration? Looking at some of the videos, the configuration is awesome. I just want the configuration. Can you send me a drive full of your stuff? And of course, I'm not interested in doing that. I already said no to the guy, but I made the mistake of recommending a particular hard drive distributor to them. Now, since then, I've come to my senses, and I've realized that that is not a good idea. And there's a lot of reasons why that's not a good idea. One of them is that you have all kinds of people working on building all the artwork, the videos, and everything else, all kinds of stuff goes into those drives. And by selling them, you're really kind of ripping all those people off, and you're making a profit off of it, which is really pretty troubling. But beyond that, all the games that go on those drives, it's one thing, it's one thing to have an arcade machine in your house with some of these games that you can't purchase anywhere else, and have them in your house and play them, yourself, and have your family play them and stuff like that. It's another thing to sell that stuff. From a legal perspective, that is not at all legal. It's very, very illegal. And so, I've thought about this. The Hyperspin community brought this to my attention, and I appreciated that. And I realized that no, I should not be recommending hard drive distributors. And I do want to apologize to the Hyperspin community for doing that. It's not a good idea, guys, to go out and buy a drive from these hard drive distributors, because there's so many issues with that model. Not to mention, a lot of people who buy the drives from the hard drive distributors, they work great until an update comes out, and then things break. And then you need the support, and you don't know what you're doing in order to fix the stuff. So there's lots of issues with the model. I don't recommend it. Going forward, we will not be working with hard drive distributors at all. We haven't worked with hard drive distributors in the past, but we have been asked by several hard drive distributors to work with them to get LaunchBox and BigBox on their drives. But going forward, we will not be working with them because of all these issues. I just don't want to be dragged down into the drama. I don't want to have any legal issues going forward or any of that stuff. So I did want to bring that up because the Hyperspin community, there's been a number of people in that community that have been rightly so. They've been a little bit upset about the way these drive distributors are distributing all the data and charging for it and all that stuff from a legal perspective, and then also basically stealing all the images that the community's built. There's been a lot of problems going on there, and so I do want to apologize to the Hyperspin community for recommending a hard drive distributor, because going forward we won't be doing that, and we won't be working with them at all. So wanted to clear that up in the community. I did make that mistake. Really just didn't think about it. Somebody asked for a drive, and I told them where to get one. But going forward, I won't be doing that. So that is all the news for this past week. It's been a crazy week, like I said. It's been nuts. All kinds of traffic, more than we've ever seen before, and I hope it keeps up. I've been very pleased with the growth. It's been incredible, and it's been very motivating as well. I want to keep working, keep putting more stuff out. But let's take a look at this week. I've got NASCAR racing from Papyrus. Now, this came out in 1994, I believe. 1994, yep. And this game was pretty revolutionary for its graphics and for its realism. It's got a crazy sense of realism. And this came out from Papyrus, and Papyrus had previously been known for the Indianapolis 500, the simulation game for DOS that came out in 1989. And that was the very first game to come out that was really a true simulation, as opposed to an arcade racer. That really didn't exist before the Indianapolis 500 game came out in 1989. And I don't think there was any games in between. I'm not sure. There might have been a sequel or something. But this is from Papyrus. This is the 1994 game, basically from that series. And this game, oh man, tremendous amounts of fun. I was terrible, terrible at this game as a kid. But that didn't stop me from having tons and tons of fun with it. So let's get into it and take a look at what's in the box here. So for starters, we have a little track pack manual. In the track pack, this was additional tracks, of course, for the game. This is black and white, but it's quite a few pages in it. And then we have a NASCAR racing installation and troubleshooting guide. You can see that. And technical and customer support information. Nothing that exciting here. A keyboard reference guide, which you never see that anymore, or rarely see that anymore. Lots of different keys. And then this shows some of the simulation aspects of this game. Tire changes, check the tire temperatures, cross weight, spoiler, stagger. I mean, yeah, it's pretty real stuff. And then attention Windows 95 users, your obligatory what to do if you're running Windows 95. Your Sierra software registration card. And of course your big thick manual. It's typical. It goes into everything. It looks like there are almost 200 pages in this manual. Pretty crazy. And then, of course, the CD-ROM. Nothing special in there. But that is NASCAR Racing from 1994 for MS-DOS from Papyrus. So thank you guys. Really appreciate everybody in the community. Do give me some questions for next week. There were some simple questions in the comments, but I answered them in the comments for this week. So give me some complicated questions that are going to need some discussion in the comments so that we can discuss things, not next week, but the week after, because I am taking the vacation next week. Thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you soon.